this isn't the first, second, or even sometimes third or fourth choice for most people who are looking for a premium midsize SUV. While rivals like the Lexus NX, BMW X3 or Merc GLC sell in the thousands each year, only a few hundred Australians in 2024 so far have chosen the Genesis GV70. So it's pretty lucky then that an update for this thing has come along this year, because like a lot of its rivals, sales for this thing are a little bit down at the moment. Can a series of updates as well as a big interior refresh help the GV70 turn the tide? We're sure Genesis hopes so, but we're here in the Northern Rivers to drive this almost 4-year-old SUV to find out for ourselves.
Starting from $78,500 before on-road costs, the entry-grade Genesis GV70 is now $8,000 more expensive than before, but it is a much higher specification. Pricing now creeps up to $100,000 for the top variant, which used to be a $92,200 offering. The base model, though, is now all-wheel drive as standard, and is called the GV70 Advanced. Two higher variants, the Signature and Signature Sport, are available with the same 2.5-litre turbo engine or a turbocharged 3.5-litre V6 engine, which is also carried over from before the update. Key changes to the GV70 include the addition of a large 27-inch screen that incorporates the driver and multimedia displays. Wireless phone mirroring is also now included, while a climate control touchscreen and over-the-air updates round out the key interior tech changes. The Signature adds niceties like a Bang & Olufsen sound system, second-row climate control and a scent diffuser, as well as intelligent front lighting systems for the LED headlights. V6-equipped GV70s also get an electronic LSD and preview suspension control, which predicts road surfaces up ahead and adjusts accordingly. The top-spec Signature Sport also adds styling changes like dark chrome, larger air intakes at the front, sport seats inside, and a sports steering wheel for the driver. The only cost option in the range is matte paint for $2,000. Even with the sticker price going up, pricing for the GV70 is pretty damn sharp compared to rivals from Europe, where a few options on a high-spec car would start to nudge the price well north of $100,000.
If you're already familiar with the GV70, then the design changes aren't going to seem revolutionary, but there are a few elements that have changed and add just a little bit of subtle distinction compared to the way it looked before.
For example, new micro-lens array headlights come in a slimmer design, plus they bring more function like a welcome light sequence. They flank a tweaked grille with a dual weave mesh, plus the bumper has been altered for a low, wide look. Even the Genesis logo is a bit different now as a flat imprint on the badge. There are new wheel designs, sizing of course depends on the variant, as well as whether or not some of the trim comes in dark chrome. At the back, the exhaust mufflers are hidden behind a redesigned bumper unless you've got a Signature Sport. And then there's a new rear spoiler with lighting that complements the new taillights. Inside, the styling hasn't changed massively either, though there are some updated materials and new trim garnishes. But the biggest updates are more functional than visual. Of course, it's not hard to spot the giant 27-inch integrated multimedia and driver display unit. Its OLED screen is similar to other plush models in the Genesis and Hyundai range. While the move to make more functions screen-based rather than using physical buttons can be a little annoying, the system here is still easy to use, and there's a climate control panel, so not too much messing around in the menus. There's a bunch of other stuff in here that carries over from before, like the huge sunroof and the fact that the front seats are heated and vented, and they're proper leather. From the wireless phone charger to the ambient lighting, the interior really is stacked with bits and features that aim to make the cabin feel extra comfy. The storage and space feels well thought out, plus there are plenty of places to put things, and you don't even feel cramped in the second row. Behind that, there's a 542-litre boot. While the GV70 is now all-wheel drive only, two engine options remain. All three variants can be had with a turbocharged 2.5-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine that makes 224 kilowatts and 422 Nm, driving all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic transmission. It carries over from before the update, as does the twin-turbo 3.5-litre V6, which makes 279 kilowatts and 530 Nm, and it uses the same gearbox. The V6 isn't available with the base advanced grade, and while its outputs aren't sky-high compared to the 4-cylinder, it has a much thicker peak torque band.
On the road, the updates to the GV70 aren't immediately obvious depending on the variant you're in. This is the Signature Sport, and one of the things that I remember from the previous version of the GV70 is that it was really capable and comfortable. However, one thing I don't recall is noticing just how quiet it was inside, and that's because the NVH in the GV70 since the update has had a major overhaul. There's active sound cancellation to
sort of counter some of the road noise with electronic sound, as well as actual physical sound deadening, and it really is noticeably quiet. You get in the car, and even though we're currently driving around town, even on some of the pretty rough roads around here at relatively high speeds, it's been noticeably quiet, and it's genuinely impressive. It makes this car feel like it's got a little bit of a step up against some of its rivals even. Here in the Signature Sport with the 3.5 litre engine, it's a pretty good thing. It doesn't ever feel like it's working too hard, but it does get you moving pretty quickly. The other engine available in the GV70 is a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo, and it's not as powerful as this one, but it's still pretty good. It's a nice thing. It doesn't have quite the same nice sound to it. It's a little bit more manufactured, and also in that version it doesn't get quite the same suspension, so it's not quite as capable as making the GV70 feel as smooth on some of the rougher roads, but it's still pretty good. Overall, to drive the GV70 is a pretty easy thing. It's actually a lot more capable than you might think, but once you start reaching the limit, it has a pretty safe and gradual way of letting you know without kind of feeling like it's jolting you back into reality.
Genesis claims the GV70 will sip 10.3 litres per 100 k's of driving in 4-cylinder guise, or 11.3 for the V6, both tested under the standard combined cycle. The GV70 needs at least 95 RON fuel, but is E10 compatible and has a 66 litre fuel tank. The safety standard was already pretty high in the GV70, with a 5-star ANCAP rating tested in 2021. It's got 8 airbags including dual frontal, side chest, curtain, a driver knee airbag and a centre airbag, plus there's plenty of active safety kit like the usual blind spot avoidance, lane follow and lane keep, and rear cross traffic avoidance. Now the GV70 also comes with updated versions of some of the stuff it already had, plus a nav-based smart cruise control and an in-cabin camera for driver monitoring.
Fortunately, there's a pretty direct way to turn them all off, but it is just one of those things that makes the update a little bit more annoying to live with than the previous car.
Genesis has a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is about standard for the industry, but relatively good for a premium brand. It gets better though, because Genesis offers a generous 5-year or 50,000k complimentary scheduled servicing plan with 12-month or 10,000k intervals. And there's more. Genesis also offers 10 years of free roadside assist if you service your car with Genesis, it's 5 years otherwise, and there's 5 years of Genesis's concierge and courtesy vehicle program. Not needing to pay anything for at least 5 years after buying a car is a bit of a slam dunk when it comes to ownership prospects.
The GV70 was already a pretty good thing, and aside from a couple of little annoyances in the tech with this update, it is now a much better thing to drive on the road. It's quiet, it's comfy, and it's pretty capable. It deserves a place amongst its rivals like the X3, the GLC, and the Lexus NX, so it'll be interesting to see what happens once this update makes it out onto the road.
Even with its price increasing, its value is hard to deny, especially when it comes to post-purchase ownership. It's hard to say if the update will convince more customers away from rivals, but the GV70 continues to earn its place as Genesis' most popular model.